But you or
Oh, sorry. What just happened there?
Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
Photosatin Premium RC is a resin-coated paper with an alpha cellulose backing, and it's got a really soft, smooth surface that almost looks like a matte paper, except it's got that extra bit of black density and contrast and image sharpness that give it its satin-like quality. It's reminiscent of traditional darkroom RC papers, and honestly, I was really surprised when I tried this paper for the first time. It's got great black density, great contrast, great image sharpness. The colors are really vibrant, but it also has adds a nice softness to the highlights that give it its satin look and feel. And because of that, it's a paper that works with a whole variety of images when you want the look of a photographic type paper, especially if you're matting and framing your images. Photosatin Premium RC is one of my favorites.
We only get one shot at this life thing. Might as well make an extraordinary one. Like maybe there was always a little seed in us that demanded more of life, or like to go out there and get some.
I want to empower women with the skills and confidence to explore the backcountry and to pursue anything they dare to dream.
We're in a pretty hectic zone.
No one will ever understand how hard it is.
Oh my God, we've lost our minds. We'll all be talking about that trip for the rest of our lives.
As image makers, we need to look around. We need to see the world. We need to go to museums. We need to go to galleries so we can understand the use of color and light and shadow. In that respect, everything needs to be considered. If there's a rule for the images that we're trying to make, they shouldn't just appeal to architects. They should be images that when framed, your grandmother falls in love with it and wants to hang it on her wall. So the purpose of our image making is not to recreate a photograph. We have the ability to play with light, to play with atmosphere that potentially makes that image more visually engaging. This is our perception of reality. There's an understanding of the color within a composition. So that color palette is often driven by the color in a brick, or the timber, or the floor. The image in its entirety needs to harmonize. As well as photography, there are painters that we look at. The way that they have painted with color and tone and light, they're in museums. And it kind of occurred to me that we are recording the architecture of our time. We want to celebrate those images by framing them and put them on a wall. So in years to come, could you have a museum where there are digital paintings that people want to come and visit? A song can be broken down into different elements. They all play a part in the composition of that soundtrack. There'll be something about that song that makes you want to play that song over and over again. And maybe each time you'll pick up on different elements. If we make a successful image, you'll want to look at it over and over again. Maybe the more that you look at it, you will then pick up the fact that there's leaves on the ground, or there's dapple shadow in the corner, or there's a figure in the window. So there's thought into every aspect.
Welcome to the Australian Photographic Prize Digital Aerial category. I'm joined by an elite panel of judges, which includes the following people. Afshan Javari, Urban Landscape and Architectural, who is a NZIPP Master with Distinction and has several awards under his belt, including third place in the Epsom Pano Awards, Built Environment, and the travel category winner at the Rise International, amongst other awards. Bruce Moyle, Weird Art Abstract Portraits, not my choice of words, that was his, so I didn't do that. Winner of the Portrait Conference Digital category, high scoring portrait at APA a few years back, and a portrait finalist at APA as well. Director of Photography for Heart in Country Planetarium Show, and a few other things to his belt. Christopher Ian, Portraiture Photojournalism, Wedding Travel Science, 2010 AIPP Portrait Photographer of the Year, 2017 Silver at the World Photographic Cup, and a 2018 Silver at the World Photographic Cup, so representing Australia, and has involved in Melbourne Symphony Orchestra shoots in Beijing, and an interesting one, Russian soldiers returning home in 2017, so you might want to have a conversation with him if you pass him in the hallway. Craig Wetchen, Environmental Portrait, Wedding Portrait, Urban Street, Master Photographer 2, Honorary Life Member AIPP, third place in WPPI Wedding at a past competition, and does photography walks for wellbeing, amongst other things, including some books. Ian Vanderwald, apart from having a strange name, Commercial Urban Landscape, sorry Ian, oh I forgot you in the room. Victorian Landscape Photographer of the Year in the past, Victorian Illustrative Photographer of the Year, and also repeat Victorian Landscape Photographer of the Year in the AIPP, honoured with a fellowship with the AIPP, and is a brand ambassador for several international brands, none of which sponsor this competition, so I won't give them any free airplay.
If they were asked,
they might have, there you go. Then we have Jonathan Armstrong, does travel, landscape, street and rock concerts, high scoring Print New South Wales a few years back, Epsom Signature Award, a finalist in the Moran Contemporary Photographic Prize and a finalist in the Bonest Photography Prize. Has been involved in several documentary projects around the Bondi region, and also proud to have done work with Heartfelt, which I've also done a little bit with. So, well done, Jonathan. Heartfelt.
who was the person?
Jonathan. Kelly Barker, creative and commercial and all-round amazing lady. WA Illustrative Photographer of the Year, Master with 2 gold bars, AIPP, highly commended, won her art prize. She was one of the driving forces, if not the driving force behind the Pro Photography WA, with a great group of people to support, and writing a book on finding your own creativity. And she's a damn hard worker for the industry. So Kelly, good to have you on board. Matt Palmer, everything that hasn't involved babies or galaxies. Very good, Matt. That's quite descriptive. Australian Professional Photographer of the Year in the past, NZIPP Australian Documentary Photographer of the Year, Natural Landscape Awards winner, Projects winner, Australian Sports Photographer of the Year, Documentary Photographer of the Year, Queensland. Working on releasing a second book, Icelandic Echoes. I've seen that advertised. Working with Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary, and runs the Alpine Light Gallery with his partner in crime, Mika Boynton. So we have a very good panel of judges here, so we're very lucky. This is the digital aerial category, as I said, so I'm going to read out a little bit about that category. Yes, that's paper you can hear at home. What a good picture that is. Only joking. Okay. Aerial landscape photography captures the beauty of the Earth's contours, colours and textures from a unique vantage point. Images taken from helicopters, planes, drones, or from a high vertical perspective are accepted. Drone photography must comply with regulations relevant to capture geographics. Composite images such as stitched panoramas are permitted, provided that the primary emphasis remains on the natural scenery. And this is open to obviously students, amateurs and professional photographers. We'd like to thank our category sponsor Godox, a lighting equipment expert and innovator of gear for photographers, videographers, filmmakers and others. Thank you, Godox. The Australian winner of the aerial photographer category wins a trophy, the title of 2024 Australian Aerial Photographer of the Year. That'd be a good one to have. They also go into the running to win the professional division and a Godox lighting prize worth $1,000. International winner of the aerial category wins a trophy and the title of 2024 International Aerial Photographer of the Year. And the Australian winner will go into the running to win the overall Australian Digital Photographer of the Year, winning a Nikon Australian voucher valued at $5,000. So that's a good prize to win too. Damn, I should have entered. Okay, that's all the paperwork done. Let's get into it. We're about to start in a moment, but before we do, we're going to do a run-through. We're going to do a run-through, so you guys at the panels can just wander around there. We're going to do a run-through of the images that are involved in this category. Judges, I ask you use this as an opportunity to calibrate yourself so that when we hit the ground running and we keep at that same consistent judging and pace. So this will give you an overview to start us off. So, yep, when you're ready, people at home, this is the selection that has made the finals of this category. A wonderful selection of aerial imagery. Okay. You can take them down. Okay. Sorry, Matt, you're out. And Jonathan, you're in. Okay, let's log back in because it kicked us out. And is that the first one you've got? Cool. Okay, we'll have the first image, please. You judge, oh, sorry, before we do, judges are good to go? Yep. Okay. No. Yes. Okay, good to go? Okay, let's go. First print, or first image, I should say. Okay, there you go, that's it. Ah, sorry, there you go. Ah, the beauty of tech.
Look at this for a minute because it might bring up something that you're going to say.
Lucky I brought my jumper. I find the lack of detail in the shadows is bothering me, but I do like the central composition of the buttons.
But I was going to say, it's right on the button.
Okay.
I keep looking for a cookie, but there's no crumbs.
All right, first image. Thank you. I knew I brought that for a reason. Oh, thanks for getting that out of the way. Thank you. Did you press start? This image scores 81 as a silver award. And everybody's pretty close to that, within a couple of points. So you got an 81. I'm going to go to someone who didn't quite see it as a silver and ask what they think could be done to improve this. Bruce. Thank you.
Beautiful texture, nice capture. I think the thing that got me and I would like to see is just a bit more refinement to the left-hand side, just to bring it in line with the rest of the tonal ranges, particularly on the top right. But yeah, well done.
Thank you, Bruce. Next image, please. This is the aerial digital category at the Australian Photographic Prize in sunny, warm Melbourne. This image scores a 79 by majority, and I'll ask for a comment perhaps from Kelly. Thanks, Kelly.
I'm really enjoying that there's such a journey through this image and there's so much detail. The negative space I feel is a little deep.
Too heavy? Yeah. Okay. Next image, please. Thanks, Kelly. Reminder, this category is sponsored by Godox Lighting. Lighting for every occasion, indoors or out. Image scores 85, solid silver, well done. And all judges again within 3 points, so it's fairly consistent appraisal there. Let's have a comment from Jonathan, who was up at 88.
Yeah, this image strikes me as a very cellular kind of image. I love how the gold earth really pops out of the surrounding more muted tones. It's got a beautiful textural detail all the way through, and it's something that my eye can explore probably for a long period of time without getting bored.
Beautiful, thank you. Next image, please. These images are being viewed on the beautiful ASO monitors supplied by one of our major sponsors, KL. We thank them for their support. Okay, this image scores. And we have a 78, a highly commended image. Are you happy with that, judges? Are we confident with that? Comfortable? All good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's have a comment from Bruce, who gave it 75. What could be done to lift this up to a higher level, Bruce?
I think the big thing for me is that top part of it really leads your eye straight out of the frame once you hit the top of the image, and that could be due to tone, colour, and that. So maybe refine within a crop or something like that, or enhance your colour palette a little bit around that top edge to bring the cools up a bit.
Okay, thank you. The reason I hesitate sometimes, if judges are in a position to optionally challenge, they can look at what the score is and decide whether they'd like to discuss it a bit more, but they don't have to, it's just an option. We move on to the next image, please. Thanks, judges. It's a noisy chair. This image scores 85, solid silver. All judges, again, sitting between 82 and 88, so that was a fairly consistent opinion. Let's have a comment from Bruce. You like this image. What did you like about it? What was so strong?
This image is texturally and tonally really well put together. It's got a great abstract feel, but like it's got emotion to it and a power to it. You can really read stuff into this, and yeah, I feel like they've captured this extremely well and handled the post-production excellently.
Okay, thank you. Next image, please. Image scores 82, silver award.
We can go higher if we can go higher.
Well, I'm asking, is anyone challenging?
Yeah,
Okay, good. Because if you hadn't, I would have made you challenge.
Yes.
Because there's two of you on 88.
Yeah, well,
There's an 82 and then there's a couple of high 70s. So let's
So-
see Craig. So Craig's challenged on 88.
Yeah, look, Mother Nature has a way of presenting itself, and for the photographer to be perusing the air and finding this. Now, I'm just transcending my mind into, woodworkers who sit there and put electrical rods in timber, and it sit there and starts burning into the timber. And this is the way nature kind of has its way of growing a tree and life extending itself, and yet it's burning itself out that way. And I just think it's just the splash of green here and the two little dots of its life has a way of moving forward. And I think it's just really, really well seen, really captured well, and presented compositionally extremely well.
Okay. Bruce, you're the lowest at 76.
I was. Thanks, Craig. I think the thing got me with this was that I found lots of little distracting elements, particularly down the bottom edges, and I feel like it could really help with a crop just on the left, because where it sort of is flat before it comes up and over that dark brown, I feel like it's just truncating the image in a way that isn't so natural. I think it takes away from the elements you're trying to present. I love the story of the burning wood. That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Jonathan, you're at 88 as well.
Yeah, 88. I think it deserves a strong silver. I love when you can take a two-dimensional image and have something pop out of it that's in 3 dimensions, and that's very much what I see here. It's wonderful.
Okay. Does anyone have anything to add? Afshan.
Just a quick one. I think some of the details are lost due to either post-production overwork or maybe lack of some details in areas that you like to explore more, especially in the green areas. And I agree with Bruce with the crop from left.
Craig?
Look, I think the left is where it leads you into the frame. I mean, it's that growing tree. It leads you into that frame. It's expanding out into where the greenery and life is fighting its way to exist. So I don't think the crop needs to have that there. I think it's crop perfect. This is an image I'd love to look absolutely huge. But I almost enjoy it even better when I'm sitting back rather than going up trying to find the minuscule details. It's all in the grandeur.
Okay. You hold your score at 88 and everyone else can reassess their scores. Which means they could leave their score where it is, they can go down, they can go up. It's entirely up to them. And this print now scores 84. Good solid silver. Well done. We'll have the next print, please. Or next image, I should say. Bad habits. Or old habits. Print scores 80 by majority and is a silver award. Are we happy with that, judges? Yep. Yep. Okay. I'll get a quick comment, if I can, from Kelly on what could be done to lift this a little higher, in your opinion.
There's some beautiful little details in there. I just feel the non-complementary colours are a little heavy. It's actually taking away from what my eye wants to sit at.
Okay. Thank you. Next image, please. This image scores 83, silver award. Challenge from Bruce on 88. You've got a 77, 82, 84, 86, 88.
Okay. This is spectacular in the way which I haven't really seen in this sort of aerial photography before. This is obviously of a volcano or something to that nature, but it feels like a cross-section of the Earth where we don't see the lava tubes. And that's something we know exists, but we don't see them. This is something feeding up. And I feel like we're getting that first squirt of flame from the explosion. We're not getting all the smoke and all that, but we're just getting it. And I feel like this is just those red lines all through the bottom are just like, here is the power we're going to bring you. And we're just getting that first hint of the explosion, the eruption. It's handled well, it's tonally very striking, and while the fireball at the top, you could say, is a little bit clipped in the way it's coming out. That's what an explosion does when you photograph it. So as a technical point, I think that is actually amazing. It's not a criticism, I feel. So I would love to see the actual rest of my judges to come up and reward this amazing bit of art with a high score.
Thanks, Bruce. We'll go to Craig at 77.
Yeah, look, I hear what you're saying. My issue is I think that I think you can crop out that top part. I think the most engaging aspect of this whole image is the bottom half. It's just the detail and all the lava coming through the cracks. That is where I really wanted to rest in that rather than traversing. I see where they're coming from, but I think there's just so much more. I could have been almost really high silvers if the top half was cropped off.
Let's go to Jonathan or Kelly.
Yeah, look, I love how this image really leads your eye through from the bottom right corner in this huge, wonderful arc. It's like you're looking at the belly of some monstrous creature, all the way through to where it spews out flame out of the top. I think that leaving that top uncropped kind of gives you the best of both worlds. So I'm happy to give it high silver at least.
Anybody have anything to add? Otherwise, I'll go back to Bruce. Okay, Bruce, back to you.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I think you'd be losing the story if you crop that top bit off, Craig. I feel that is what brings the power to this image. I love the texture and that, but without having that bit of flame, you're definitely missing an element which is crucial to telling the story. So yeah, come up with me, everybody. I think it's worth it.
Okay, thank you. Image is currently 83. You'll hold your score at 88, Bruce, and everyone else can rescore. Okay, we have an 85, solid silver, well done. Some great comments there as well. Okay, next image, please. Image score is 79 by majority. Jonathan's got a challenge on 88. Thanks, Jonathan. You've got an 78, 78, 78 and 77 to work with.
Yeah, okay, so I've got a lot of work to do, but oh look, this is literally watercolour. It's a wonderful swathe of strong, rich blue colour that sits in between the more muted but still quite colourful tones of the water around it. There's a wonderful amount of detail, and all of the little tiny fine details are in very sharp focus. And I love the way that it just guides your eye through from the top right across to the top left across to the right, and then back down again. I find it very sort of soothing to the eye, and something that I could look at for quite a while.
Okay, Ashton.
Yes, it certainly gives a watercolor feeling. Sorry, it certainly gives a watercolor feeling. However, it seems like the water became a bit muddy on top area of the image, and hence the image became a bit muddy on top. On top of that, judging by all the hands that goes to crop, everyone is having a challenge with the cropping of this and composition of this image. That's actually my challenge. I think cropping from top at least leaves that muddiness out of the frame, and we have a crisper overall image, like the rest of the image, especially in the bottom side of the image.
Okay, Bruce?
I feel like that it could really benefit with maybe a rotation, just to give us off-kilterness to actually appreciate those colours a little bit more and have less of the eye leading towards that currently top right-hand corner.
Okay, anything to add, Craig?
Yeah, look, I just think it's out of balance. I'm cropping off the left-hand side. I love the watercolorness, the sky and everything. I just feel it's out of balance.
Okay, back to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, look, to my eye, cropping wouldn't contribite to improving the image at all. I find it's very soothing to look at, and my eye sort of just dances through the various colours quite happily. So I feel like it deserves more.
Okay, well, Jonathan's on 88. He wants you to take on board what you've just heard and rescore. Again, for the audience, judges have the opportunity to score either lower, higher, or keep it where it was. It's up to them. New information, and then they can reassess. Image stayed exactly where it was. Yep. 79 majority. When I say majority, what I mean is that the image averaged 80, but the majority of judges were below 80, so it gets a 79. High commended work. Okay, next image, please. Thanks, judges. After this, you come on. You come on after this. Can I borrow Kelly? I know, I could see it. There we go. Image scores 82, silver award. Well done. Again, everybody very close. We'll have a quick comment from Craig as to what could be done to lift this image a little bit higher.
So it scored what? Solid silver 82.
Got 82.
82.
You gave it 78.
Yeah, I gave it 78. Oh yeah, probably could have gone into a silver. I just think, yeah, I was really having a competition with so much the top half versus the bottom half. Maybe even just crop a little bit off that top half. I would have definitely gone up a little bit higher. But yeah,
I think also the outside is quite saturated and bright compared to the middle, which is kind of flat and dull. So we kind of got a bit of a hole in the middle of the image. And I think if they just reduced saturation tiny little bit at the top, darkened it down, brighten up the middle, and we get a little bit more of a pull into the middle.
Yep, good point.
All right. We're going to have a judge change. So Kelly, you needed somewhere for a moment. So if you could go with Kay. So you can leave, and also Craig, you can take a break for a bit. And if I could invite Christopher Ian and Ian Vanderwald and Matt Palmer, and I need someone else who was going up. Jonathan, you take a break as well, thanks. She wanted you, so if you step out there, she'll be looking at the other judges, yeah. Okay, you guys that have just jumped on into speed straight away, good to go. Okay, if you've got something to say, nice and get it across, but you don't have to keep adding to it like I just did. Okay, next image, please. And the next one after that. No, we got the wrong one. There we go. Did yours go in? Thank you. Image scores 87, high silver. Well done. And all judges are very close, 84 to 88. We were sitting in that bracket, so everybody's in agreement. I'll get a comment from Mr. Ian Vanderwald as to why that got such a good score, Ian.
The minute this came up, it immediately appealed to me. I love the square crop. I think it's really working with this image, but I love the colour palette. It's working really, really well. And I sort of get a feeling it's almost like a portrait of the landscape. I can almost see elements of a human face in there, which just softens off what is really quite a harsh environment. I think it just hangs together really well.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, quick comment, Christopher Ian.
I just love the floating eyelashes that are just falling away.
Okay. I'll just add that our new judges that have joined the panel are Christopher Ian, portraiture, photojournalism, wedding, travel science, and Ian Vanderwald, who commercial urban landscape, and also we've got Matt Palmer. Again, everything that doesn't involve babies or galaxies. Okay, let's go to the next image, please. Thanks, judges. This is the professional category area, digital, and we're looking at the subcategory of aerial. Aerial landscape photography captures the beauty of the earth, contours and textures from a unique vantage point. Images taken from helicopters, planes, drones, or from a high vertical perspective are accepted. The primary emphasis should remain on natural scenery. Someone just need, who was it? Oh, there we go. And we have 85. And we're all happy with that? You're not happy with that? Are you happy with that or you're not happy with that?
Guys,
do I hear a challenge?
Yeah.
Say it.
Challenge.
Thank you. Okay. You have Ian on 92. You have
This is just
78, 82,
stunning.
yeah.
Like, it's just gorgeous in its simplicity. You know, like I'm looking at this. I know it's an aerial of the landscape, but I'm struggling to make sense of what it is I'm actually looking at. But it just works so well. The colour, the flow from top to bottom, the tonality is gorgeous. And then we've got this one little tree that sort of gives me some, well, I'm assuming it's a tree or a rock or something down in the bottom casting a shadow. That really, to me, is the only thing that says landscape. Otherwise, I'm just looking at this beautiful pattern. It could be a piece of marble. It could be anything. I think it's just amazing. I think giving it anything less than gold is underselling it. Please, come up, guys.
Okay, Christopher.
The reason I scored this, not even in silver, sorry, Ian, is it's a beautiful decorative portrait, and it would look great in some office, but there's no sense of the depth of landscape. There's no hint, apart from the tiniest of rocks, which is actually too understated. There's just no sense of 3 dimensions. It's just a flat plane.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of dimension looking at it from above. It looks like the ridgeline of a dune system, which I'm sure the rest of you got as well. What was interesting to me was these white areas, and I'm wondering if that might be that this desert has gotten snow or something like that. And then the photographers caught like the last remaining snow before it's all melted away. I was in the silver range for that, and but I felt like there's a lot of empty space, and although there's some beautiful texture and colour in there, there's just a lot of emptiness as well.
Okay, Bruce, you were up high silver. You like this?
Yeah, I was a little shy on that. Thanks, Ian, for challenging. I think the thing that got me is I stepped back out of landscape, out of the aerial thing, and just went, as a piece of art, this is like a ripped bit of paper that has been stitched back together. Now, bring back the landscape. The earth has been ripped and then stuck back together. And those seams are, you know, the white under the print. We've all seen it with our prints, right? This is just stunning. And that little cookie in the bottom right-hand corner and that. So, yeah, there is a story there. And I find it really fascinating. So thank you for challenging up.
Ian?
I think the simplicity is what makes it, Christopher. I don't need to see depth and texture. What I'm getting from this image is emotion and warmth and feeling. And to me, I don't need it to be literal. This is a work of art. I don't have to look at that and say, okay, that's a ridge with snow. And I think you're right, Matt. I think that's not what this is about. This is about creating beautiful images. I don't need someone to illustrate to me exactly what they've seen. This is an interpretation of the landscape in its simplest form, and I love simplicity. I love the negative space. If you've heard me judge, I quite often suggest they need to put more space around it to give what we're looking at room to breathe, and I think this does this beautifully. It's a gold in my opinion, and please, I ask, come up.
Just going to let you know that I'm pretty sure this is a tidal movement, and you've got white water or salt, and it's actually a tide movement rather than a sand dune, just to bring it in. Now, I might be wrong, but
Well, as I said in the first, I didn't know what it was, but I don't need to know. I know that visually I'm really drawn into this image. I don't need to know what it is.
Yep.
So come up, guys,
Okay,
please.
so you hold your score in, and everybody else take on board what you've heard, please, and rescore. This image score is 88, high silver. Well done. Okay, next image, please.
No, just contemplating before I eat.
Good, good, all good. Good, thank you. Image score is 85, solid silver. I can't hear.
Challenge.
Thank you. Okay, we have a challenge from Ian Vanderwild, very passionate and loud as he was. You have 81, 78, 88, 84.
Sorry, what was that?
You have 81, 78, 88 and 84 to work with.
Geez, I'm way off the mark, aren't I? I mean, so geez, they're way off the mark, aren't they?
Yes, there is a diverse range of scores, Mr. Vanderwald.
There is. I love this. It has a very medieval feel to me. I see a medieval pattern in here, you know, the old... chest plates and so forth. It's really drawing me in. And I don't know, when I look at this digital aerial stuff, I suppose we all see things and interpret things differently, but I found all these little cookies in here. Like if you look in the bottom corner here, there's like almost like a dragon's head, and we've got a skeleton's face in here, and I saw all these little things that were sort of harking back to medieval days of knights and Dungeons and Dragons and things, and it just really appealed to me. And again, anyone knows me knows I like a square crop, so that adds to it for me as well. But I think it's definitely, there's so much in this, you could look at it for hours. I think it's a gold. Seriously, guys.
Bruce? 78?
I was on the opposite end, and I think technically wise, like it's sharp, it's detailed, it has some depth into it, and the colour is the thing that threw me off. While it is sort of complementary from the top left to the bottom right, I can't see what's enhancing. It doesn't seem to have a rhyme or reason. It just feels like a sort of a wash gradient across it, and it's just kind of not sitting well for me in that respect.
Okay. Let's have a look. Someone in the middle there. Perhaps Matt, you're an 81.
So I went into the silver range based on the strength of some of those little faces and interesting things that you can find in this. But to elaborate on the colour, so the colours in these braided rivers are made up by the various minerals that are ground up by the glaciers. However, they don't really colour in a smooth gradient like this. So I kind of feel like the photographer's trying to communicate something else by colouring it in that way, but I don't know what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, welcome. Anybody to add to the conversation? Afshin?
I'm with the color thing, but another thing that stopped me, I'm at 88, very close to comp gold, and because of all the positive stuff, one thing that stopped me to go higher was, I don't know where to rest my eye, because there are a lot of things happening here. If the photographer wanted us to find those cookies, perhaps highlight one of them, something that we explore, and then find something that is more important for them, and let us rest on that one.
Back to you,
Thanks, Ashwin. Look, I agree with all the comments. The colour, I'm not a geologist or whatever, studier of ice flows or whatever, so where the colour goes. I don't mind the colour palette, it's subtle, yellow and blue generally work well together, warmer colours. I think it may have been nicer if it was all in a similar tonality. That doesn't concern me too much. If it was, I may have gone higher. In terms of bringing your eye to rest, I don't think an image always has to be obvious, that it hits you in your face and you create something that directs the viewer straight to what you want them to look at. I know we do that with our photography and we're taught to do that, but sometimes it's nice to have a canvas that we can just explore and discover our own things, walk away with our own interpretation of what we're looking at. I don't think we always need to make things obvious. And I could look at this image for hours and find other little details in there that are little cookies and little things that I think, wow, that I didn't see that. And I got that because I explored the image, not because the photographer said, hey, this is what I want you to look at. So I don't think we always need to be directing the viewer. Sometimes we need to give them some credibility for themselves to find their own things. And I think there's a lot in this image, and I think it's worthy of a gold.
Thank you, Ian. You hold your score. Everybody else can reassess. Image scores 87, good high silver, well done. Congratulations to the photographer, and we'll move to the next image, please. There we go, next image. Thanks, judges. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Image scores 84. Silver, everybody very close, all within 3 or 4 points of that score, so it's consistent scoring again. Everybody agreed it was worth a silver. Let's have a quick comment, if we can, from Christopher.
Having suffered a cannula recently, I can really appreciate that needle that's bursting the landscape. It's just amazing. I just wish the subjects that are on it, which are trucks or something, were a little bit more obvious and bigger, but it adds the depth that I complained about earlier. It's really a flat landscape until you see the cannula needle bursting through.
Thank you, Christopher. Could I ask for Bruce to take a little break and Afshan to take a little break, and we will get Jonathan back and Craig back, please. And once they're seated, we'll have the next image. Thanks. Okay, this image scores 85. Everybody's pretty consistent there. And I'm going to call my second panel challenge for the day, which just gives you guys a chance to talk a bit more about it. And I'd just like it, in part of that conversation, I'd like to hear a little bit about the design element of this image and the use of colour and the subtle narrative that's been applied due to the narrative that we're being given about what's actually happening here. So everybody gets a chance to speak if you can add to the conversation. Everybody's about the same score, so there's no rhyme nor reason to who I ask. You don't have to speak, but you all get the chance to rescore, but you only get the chance to speak once. So I'm going to start with Matt. I'm going to start with you, mate. You're in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah, I gave it an 84. The reason why I did that partly was for the design. 10 perfect rows here. And then we have all of these little organic matters of the crops growing. I think it may be mixed culture in terms of multiple types of plants. There's a lot of plant life in the browner rows there. And also the use of colour is really clever in that we're seeing the saturated landscape after the sprinkler goes through, which is reddening up that soil, and then the dusty landscape in front of it. So it also gives us a sense of movement because you can see where that line is going to travel to. So I rewarded it for that, but I'll listen in terms of a higher score.
Okay, Ian.
Sorry, can we rescore with
Everybody
this challenge?
can rescore,
Okay,
'cause
so
I called the challenge.
I underdid this, and I didn't realise until I came back and sat here after I viewed it from further back that it dawned on me. My initial score was based on the premise that this colour was manipulated diagonally, and then it occurred to me, no, it's a sprinkler, it's saturating the soil. So I actually think I've been unfair to this entrant, and I'm going to go up. I actually think that was the only thing that was holding me back, but I've been able to, crystallise that in my own mind now. I think it's actually worth more than what I gave it, so I'm going to go up. I think.
Well, why is it worth more? I'd like to hear some specifics.
I just think that the cropping and the placement in the frame works really well. I love the diagonal. If you have a look at it, it's all very evenly placed, perfectly square. It's very geometrically perfect. And I think from an aerial point of view, whether it was shot with a drone or out of a plane, it's not that easy to do. Of course, yeah, we can straighten it up, but it just works, in my opinion. It's a nice, solid aerial image that gives us a good depiction of the landscape, but also the farming conditions in this country. I do work for a tractor firm, and I heard something at a job just recently that they need to put 100 times the effort into the soil in Australia than what they do in North America, for argument's sake, to get the same yield. And I think this illustrates how difficult it is to farm in this country and how we've got to artificially irrigate and so forth. And like I said, I underdid it because I didn't see that looking up at the screen, but stepping back now I can really see that. And I think it is a perfect illustration of how difficult and how much work goes into getting food off the land in this country, So,
okay.
Yep.
All right, let's move across. Christopher, Ian, you were pretty high there.
I was really hoping someone would go gold. I was just being gutless at 88. I see these strips of coated ticker tape, and that's what appealed from back here. And when I got up, I wanted depth. The sprinkler system is the depth, but I had no idea about why the colours were there. I was just even suspect about the colours. Now I'm definitely thinking this is gold. You've got a flag there of code, and it's in nature. It's beautiful.
Okay, everyone gets a chance to speak if they want to. So.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree with any of the comments that have been made about the geometrical perfection of the image. What I particularly like about it is just those perfect circular arcs that are yet to be completed across the landscape. It's something against the straight verticals of the rest of the image. Playing against those lines really adds a lot for me. So yeah, I'm going to come up as well.
Great.
I'm really glad you've challenged this, Tony, because I said to myself I was gun shy on that. I scored it at 85. It's geometrically pleasing, and that's what we're seeing here. And someone has seen this and put this together, and I love that tonal range going from the saturated soil over to the unsaturated soil. So I'm going up.
Yeah. So my comments were basically around the fact that sometimes we have colour for colour's sake, and sometimes the colour plays a part in the narrative, as does the design, and I think there's layers here. But you've had a chance to talk about it. You can leave your score where it was, you can go down or you can go up. It's entirely up to you based on what you've now had a chance to think about and what you've heard. We have a 91. All judges went to 88 to 94. That's good, judges. Well done. And I suppose that's kind of the role I'm here to do, is not to see you move it up or down, but just to bring out things that maybe were missed. And often when we get that condensation of scores, or that density of scores in one space, no one gets the chance to sort of open up the image. So that gave you the chance to do that.
I'm really glad you did that, because the minute I entered my score, I thought,
Same.
So I think that's a really good system.
All right, next image, please. Image score's 85. And we have a challenge from Matt. Matt's on 91. There's a 78, 84, 86, 87 with you. Matt, here we go. There you go, mate.
Yeah, this is a really interesting landscape. I think we have explored mining landscapes like this before. However, I think this one presents itself in a very different way, in that I don't believe that we've been presented it to like it. So it's a very ugly landscape. It's slightly off balance. The edges aren't straight. There's no people in there. So if you're going, oh, wouldn't it be great if there was a tractor in here? No, this is the aftermath of when the people are gone. So they've done all of this damage, and now nature's just been left like this. So that's what I see, the lack of care.
Okay. Could we have a chat?
Sorry, I was on gold.
Yep. Craig?
Yeah, I scored at 78. And that's kind of where that's my comments. It just leaves me flat. I just wanted more. I go up there, I'm given more, but when I hang back, I'm actually more pleased with the image sitting back here than I am going in and looking at it. But it just leaves me a bit, I want more. I want something different.
Okay. Thanks, Craig. Christopher, Ian.
On Craig's point, I sort of go there too, because I see photos within photos which are much more visually stunning. If you go into the tractor tyres and just make a photo of that, it's beautiful. There's other parts where on their own they're kicking goals. You've got very high silver, maybe even a gold. Then you put it almost too much in front of me. So I just didn't find the yellow was within the gamut of nature too.
Back to Matt. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, so you're right, the yellow isn't within nature, that's within man, and that's how man has left it. So I think a lot of the elements here, you're right, it's not balanced. There could have been tighter crops, but this whole image is telling the story of human impact. So you've got the tailings, or whatever those chemicals are in the water on the right-hand side. On the left, you have a stream that's kind of been built at some point in time, and they're just pushing mud indiscriminately into this stream. For the water to end up, God knows where. It could be in the water table, it could be flowing on further on stream, and then at the top you've got that kind of creamy space there, but then that has all of the tyre tracks of what used to be there, and that's to give the context of what happened in this place, and now it's just empty. So I'm on gold. I know that it's challenging and that you're not actually supposed to like this image, I don't think, and so I would think of it in this context, like how strong is the communication that's intended, and is that talking to you in that space? So I don't think you're supposed to go, oh, well, you know, it should have been cropped and that would have been sublime. I think there's almost like you should be offended.
Okay. Interesting comments. You hold your score, and everybody else will score as they see fit. It got 85. Thank you, Alicia. Print score or image scores 87. Thank you. And I'm going to get Matt. You're going to have a little break and put Kelly on, please. And if I could have no, that'll do for now. Thanks. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Kelly. Next image, please. This image has nearly got all its scores in. This image scores 79 by majority. We have a challenge from, I'll take yours, Craig, on 88. You have an 87 and a 76 and 2 78s. So we have a panel that's a bit diverse, like split, to see where we end up. Split tone.
Split tone. Look, I really saw this as a very planetary feel to it, but yet earthly nature. That's where the imagination of where this photographer has investigated the landscape from above and has presented this very planetary feel. You know, it looks like Jupiter. So it's taken us otherworldly. That's where I really rewarded this photographer at a very high silver. And yeah, I was initially going to probably go to gold, but I'm like, oh, you know, I think that it sits at that high silver. So I'm surprised we're not in that high silver.
Okay, Kelly.
There's so much potential in this image. For me, the top half is exceptional. The bottom half is superfluous, essentially. That beautiful line that dissects the top half, the top yellow section and the bottom, the top blue section, is where the action is at. There's some technical issues within what looks like some dodging and burning potentially in that bottom half. Unfortunately, that's just what keeps me just under the silver range. I'd love to hear more though.
Okay, Ian, you have something to add? We'll come to
Yeah,
John.
I'm there with Kelly, and I think in the water it seems to be very noisy, which sort of held me back a little bit. But it's one of these images that I think has so much potential. The colour palette's just beautiful, but I think, you know, it's either going to be simple or it's going to be more complex. And this just sort of falls between the cracks. It's a little bit too complex to be simple. You know what I mean? Like, but not complex enough to be complex. I just think that a crop, I would remove the bottom, and, you know, like, I think there's a really wonderful image sitting in there if we just reconsider the cropping. And yeah, for me, the detail is in the shadow line on the top shore of that stream or creek or whatever it is. That detail through there is where I want to be, and I'm being dragged out of the frame by the bright sand at the bottom that isn't really sort of lending much to it, in my opinion.
Thanks, Ian. Jonathan, you're at 87.
Yeah, I think it's definitely deserves to be sitting in a solid high silver. I really appreciate the mesmerising graduation of colours and hues in that waterway, and the surface at the top above that jagged black line, which looks like a surface of marble. You know, I think that if the bottom left-hand section were perhaps burnt in a little to darken it up so that it didn't take your eye away from those details that I just mentioned, then it would probably be sitting in gold. But for me, it's definitely high silver.
Okay, Craig, right to reply?
Yeah, look, things that are going through my mind is there's some rhythm going through here. The graininess and noisiness that you're looking at, if you look really close, it's actually ripples in the water. The inconsistency that you're thinking of the two borders, Mother Nature is not perfect. You know, Mother Nature has a way of washing itself away. So it's got that harmony and that rhythm that's swishing right through the frame. So, you know, again, it's that otherworldly planetary feel that this is coming through, and that texture that's actually in there is the texture of the water, but yet you see beyond the texture of the water and into the way the water is moved through, the soil is moved through the water underneath. So I've really rewarded this from the visual impact.
Okay, so Craig, you hold your score at 88. Everyone else rescore, please. Pin scores 83. Silver award. So I think that actually went down a little bit, didn't it?
Did it go down?
I think it did go down a little bit. Did it? No. What was it before? No, sorry, my apologies. It went up. That's right. My apologies. It's been a long day. Forgive me.
You're forgiven.
Next image, please. Thank you, judges. And just waiting on one more. Who are we waiting on? Christopher. We have a score of 86. And we have a challenge from Ian on 93. So you have 83, 83, 84 and 88. Thanks, Ian.
So I've seen something in this image that I feel elevates it up to a gold level, and we see a lot of these aerials of the landscape and so forth, and in the last print we talked about the texture in the water and seeing through it, and the texture in this water is what lifts this image into the gold range for me. I feel we've got this texture, this colour through the landscape, through this veneer of rippled water that's just been captured beautifully. It's like someone's put an overlay mask over the print, but it's just, I'm imagining it's just very, very shallow water, but it's just enhancing this image to take it to another level. Rather than just patterns in the earth, we've got this layer of texture over it that's just taking it into another world. I think it's definitely in the gold region. I don't know, what scores am I working with here?
It's got 86, and it was 83, 84, 83 and 88.
Come on, guys, geez, what aren't we seeing? This is a wonderful image, amazing.
Well, you tell them what they're not seeing.
Hey,
That's
I've told
your
them.
job.
I've told them.
Okay.
I've told them, they're not listening. Now, come on.
They are listening in, respectfully.
Yeah, look, sometimes you can't articulate, but that to me was that other level. You know, like I've seen a lot of aerials. I love this genre as a thing, but I haven't seen it like this. It looks like a texture. I was thinking when I was looking at this, you wouldn't want to print that on textured paper because there's just so much texture in this image just jumping out. And I've seen stuff where it's over sharpened. This is just working perfectly. Get up and have a look at it, guys. Have a closer look. It's definitely in the gold range. Come on, join me.
Okay. Kelly, you're on 83. You're the lowest.
Yeah, look, I'm still listening. I'll stop talking now. I think, maybe that's good. I think for me, what you've seen as elevated, I've felt has held it back. So the conflicting emotions within this, the juxtaposition within the heavy treatment or the heavy water ripples, and those beautiful soft swirls and tones kind of hidden underneath that, I find so conflicting that I can't get past it. So I'm definitely still listening. The shapes within this though has so much character, so much even narrative that you can pull so many stories out of this. So there's definitely something in there. So I'm well and truly in the silver, but I'm still hearing more to go to gold. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go to Craig. Sorry, 88.
So I'm at 88. Yeah, the more I'm listening, you took the words from me. So about paper, it's got a very paper feel, and then it's got that pastel, watercolor, painterly feel to it. I was at 88. I'm definitely going to be going up there because, yeah, it's the more I sit with this, the more we talk about it, the more it resonates. And a beautiful piece of art.
Okay. Does anyone have anything to add?
There's a beautiful feminine feel about this. It's like a uterus. You've almost, if you'd cropped in and cropped the first third on the left, and got rid of that dirty spot, and you cropped up from the base where it looks like you've held back. Now, we know you're not burning and dodging that area, that's nature. You would have had the artist's signature in the corner. It just, from here, it's got the potential just to crop as a square. Lose the dark area on the far left, crop up from the base to remove us, misjudging what's there, and have the signature right in the corner. It'd be perfect.
Okay, back to you, Ian.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, Kel, with the conflict. I actually like that about it. I see so many, we talked earlier about showing things literally. I like the fact that this is almost screened back by another layer, and like scratching beneath the surface, we're going to find more and more layers, and I think that really adds to it. And sometimes conflict can be a good thing in an image because it makes you think and it makes you look further into the image. In this case, I think it's really working. I don't mind the dark patch on the side, Christopher. I also don't look at it quite as deeply as that. As I don't see a woman's uterus there. I see the landscape, and I'm looking at it, and what I'm seeing is a smattering of colour and patterns that's out there in the real world. And God, it's a beautiful place, and this just highlights that to me. So
okay, you hold your score in at 93. Everybody else, where's score, please? We have an 89 by majority. Good judging. There you go. Everything but. Okay, well done to the photographer. That's a good score, high silver. We'll go to the next image, please. Image scores 85, solid silver. Everybody pretty much in the same range, all in the middle there. Quick comment, if I can, please, from Jonathan.
Yeah, look, to me, this is like a beautiful gold candelabra that sort of sits inside something that looks like an acid etching that you'd find. Yeah, I think it's lovely. I'm not even really sure what I would say to improve it, but I'd be interested to hear from some others. Yeah, thanks.
Look, I think just to improve it, I think it's just bottom heavy. So just a little bit off that bottom part. Just take off just that bottom, little bit of that bottom part.
Yep, cool, good comments, both of you. Thank you. Next print, please. Oh, sorry, next image. My apologies. Thanks, judges. Image scores 84. Everybody's pretty close to that, all within 2 points. Solid silver. I think the colour palette works really well. The bottom right corner is a little dark for me and the top left a bit bright, so we're forced out of the image. And I think this type of image with this type of design and content probably has its strength in drawing us into the image rather than across the image. So perhaps just have a look at that, and it might hold us a little bit longer. I'm going to have a judge change. So I would like, who am I going to, yeah, okay, so Craig, you can have another break. Thank you.
I'm leaving in 10 minutes, so I'm done for the day.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yep, Christopher, Ian, you can have a break too.
See you guys.
Thanks again, Craig. If I could have Matt join the panel, please. And Bruce join the panel, please. Thanks, Craig. Next image, please. Next image, please. Craig. Thanks.
Thanks, I'll see you later.
This image scores 83. There's a silver award. Matt, can you perhaps just share a few thoughts as to what could be done to lift this image a little bit higher, please?
Yeah, I think there's a fantastic detail in what I'm going to call the metaphorical tree here, and a little seahorse underneath it too, or some other creature, which is really nice. I think in terms of improvement, perhaps darkening down that top right-hand corner, because that is quite strong up there, and also maybe lifting the shadows on the vegetation at the base, as it's really elegant in the centre, but quite gritty at the bottom.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Yeah. Next image, please. Next image. Oh, there you go. Again, this is the digital professional aerial, and sponsored by Godox Lights. Very appreciative of their sponsorship across a few categories. This is the Australian Photographic Prize here in Melbourne. You'll be able to come down tomorrow and see the live judging starting at 9 o'clock. A diverse range of categories, including print categories and digital categories, judged by some of the best photography judges in the country and visitors from overseas. Although New Zealand's hardly overseas, it's closer than Western Australia. Okay, this image scores 87 and is a silver award. High silver, yeah. Bruce, you're on 92, you've challenged, you've got 82, 84, 88, 88 and 92.
This image is simple but really interesting in the respect that it's got, I can read so many different types of things in this. I can see a maze, I can see strata, I can see like kind of ancient writing and different things in here. There's lots of ways to read this. It's tonally really pleasant. with the browns and those pops of white to make sure those lines fit together. It could be an old roadway. It could be different densities of civilization. There is time in here. There is just, for me, it's a gold just because I can sit here all day and absolutely see a dozen different stories straight off the bat.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back to you. Kelly, you're on 82.
Yes, I think I was a little hesitant. This is a beautiful, beautiful image and nice study in texture, lines, pattern, form. I didn't feel a sense of depth, so I didn't feel like I could delve into the image, and I did feel I sort of was taken off in all directions, so there was no play for my eye to work around a journey of the image. That's where I sort of felt it was lacking. I scored it in the silver range because I do love that little pop of blue that almost looks like a little eye. So I'm certainly listening, and I think I could go up.
Okay, Ian, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think I was a little conservative in my judging. I loved the texture, I loved the crop, I loved the content. I was just looking for something extra in there, and it sort of, again, it dawned on me when I came back here, and this is quite often the problem when we only have a short period of time to look at a print. But this is about texture. It's about the different layers of the earth, people scraping away to take, the resources out of there. But if you tipped it vertically and saw that as a cutaway of the Earth's surface, it's also about layers. It looks, it resembles like an alien ant farm sort of thing, you know what I mean? And that to me gives it another narrative, and I think I'll definitely go up.
Okay.
Thank you for
Matt,
challenging.
you wanted to add a comment?
Yeah, I was on 88, and I'm coming up because you've given me some more reasons. I felt like it was like the caveman making a video game design. And I could imagine a little character jumping up all the different levels and things. Yeah.
Look,
Jonathan?
If anyone's ever looked at plant cells under a microscope, this is exactly what you see, just to add another narrative to the list. In terms of Kelly's comment about your eye searching around for somewhere to rest, my eye goes very happily to that little beautiful bright spot of blue, and that works for me.
Okay. Back to you, Bruce.
I think you all sold it for yourselves. Come on, guys, let's go to gold.
Rescore, please. You'll hold your score, Bruce. We have a 92 Gold Award. Well done. And all judges in the gold range. That was a unanimous decision. Well done. Congratulations to the photographer. Next image, please. "33 years stuck in there."
Drink every time you see a print.
This image scores 83, Silver Award. All reasonably happy with that? Let's have a quick comment from Matt, please.
Yeah, I think this is a particularly strong example of a tailings pond image. I quite like perhaps a metaphor of a little seahorse or something floating in the water there. I think in terms of improvement, maybe working on the greens because they are very strong in this image and really pull you strongly to the left-hand side, and perhaps just a few of the little highlights around the edge of the frame.
Thanks, Matt. Good comments. Next image, please. This image scores 80, silver award. 3 judges just in low 80s and 2 just in the sort of mid to high 70s. Quick comment, Jonathan. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
What appeals to me about this image is that it looks like in a way, the reverse of the reverse. You've got black on white and you've got white on black, and it all sort of mixes in together. What I find could be improved with the image is either a crop from the top, especially the top right, or even just darkening down those bright highlights that pull your eye, stop your eye from falling into the frame.
Thanks, Jonathan. We'll have the next image, please. Somebody hasn't put their score in. That is... That's you. Yes, it is you. Okay, image scores 81, silver award. Everybody pretty close. Ian, have you got a comment as to what could be done to lift this image a little bit higher, please?
I think the subject matter is just amazing. I think that, you know, from a different angle, it's perhaps just, even though I like symmetry, it's just a little too symmetrical. In my opinion, I think I'd like to see that placed with more negative space around it and positioned somewhere different in the frame rather than just straight on centre like that. But I think the subject matter is just beautiful, the shadow and so forth. I just different angle. If the photographer's taken more photographs of this one location, which I'm sure they would have, you know, maybe consider one of the other angles. Yeah.
Thank you. Next image, please. Yep. We will have a switch. Ashwin, if you can come in this way. You're good, mate. Next image is coming through. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Image scores 84. Thought so. We have a challenge from Bruce on 93. We have a 78, 82, 82 and 87 to go with your 93. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, we're all sitting back here. I want you to look at that as a person, straight up. Now look at all the trees. They're all small people. They are people dancing. They are people in the dream time. This instantly went back to the idea of culture and nature and being part of the land, our traditional owners, our people celebrating being on country and their love of their country. The yellows symbolise the warmth they have for this country and all that depth. It actually, for me, works better us sitting back here than the details coming in. The details are there, it gives you that it's a landscape, it has all these interesting textures and ideas in it. But as a piece of communication, sitting back here, if it was on a billboard or something like that, it is phenomenal. So yeah, I feel like this rewarded a gold. Come on.
Okay, Jonathan, you're on 78.
Yeah, I just got this one up close, and when I looked up close, I couldn't really find an area that my eye was comfortable to rest on. So I'm very interested to hear more, and I'm open to reevaluating and moving up.
Okay, let's go to Matt on 82.
Yeah, I saw the person as well, which is why I put it into the silver range. I think what let it down for me was just attention to detail. So if we're treating it like a person, that left kind of shoulder area is a little bright, and perhaps treating it as a face and maybe lightening up the top of the head and that kind of thing, just to really make the most out of that feature in the yellow area there. So I guess sitting back, I felt like it was maybe a higher score than getting up close.
I'd like to hear from Afshan on 87.
Thank you. Yep, I saw the person, I saw the trees, but I didn't see them as persons or people dancing. Or I saw the whole dead trees as a battle of life and death in nature. Reason I didn't go higher was because of the top right side of the image that hasn't treated or could have been treated like the rest of the image. And perhaps if the warmth across the body shape, especially in red tones, was a bit more saturated, especially around the head, I would it would give us a more oomph, and I would have come higher. I think at high silver it deserves to be, but I'm certainly listening.
Okay, Bruce.
I can see those comments, and thank you for them. I think the left-hand shoulder idea of it not being, it feels a little less dense to the rest of the image. I can see the oranges and that to be like a metaphysical fire. Like fire is important to the culture, right? And that could be the smoke just coming off to the edge, the wind's moving from right to left. The treatment of the rest of the image, it's part of their nature. It's never deep or dark. These are the colours of this space. They don't have to be overly saturated or anything like that. I feel that those little things, technically you could pull them apart, but as an image as a whole, particularly when you sit back, it just comes together really well. So at least come up to high silver. If not, I'd love you to come to gold.
Okay, you hold your score, Bruce, at 93. Everybody else can rescore. Image scores 88. There you go. Well done. Jonathan, I'm going to need you to take a break. Christopher Ian, if you could come in, please. And we'll have the next image, thanks. Image scores 84, solid silver. All happy with that? Let's get a comment from Christopher. Ian, what could be done to improve this, Christopher?
As decorative art, it's an absolute success. It's just nothing solidly sharp in the frame. So when you come in, there's no reward for visiting the photo. But as decorative art on a wall, you could walk past this every day of your life and just enjoy it.
Yeah, maybe just a little sharpening, but not too much. Next image, please. Image scores 82, silver award. And perhaps a comment from, well, Bruce, what would you do to lift this image a little bit?
I'd play with the crop at the top. I feel like it gets lost a little bit in too much detail up there. It's a little bit more simplistic down the bottom, and I think that's where the strength of the image is. And maybe once you play with that crop, look at rotations, different turns of it.
Okay. Next image, please. Thank you, Bruce.
Can you step up on this one?
Yeah, sure. Could I please ask Jonathan to step in now? Just take a seat for a couple, because I'm going to rotate pretty quick for them.
That's okay.
This image scores 84, a solid silver award. All judges very close there. Quick comment from Kelly, please.
There's a beautiful narrative in this image with man-made tracks indicative of something truly natural. What held it back for me is those bright spots. Maybe see if we can work with the dodging and burning.
Okay, thank you. Next image, please. Pin scores 82, silver award. Everybody very close. Quick comment if I can from Afshan. Thanks, mate.
The graphical nature of this image is beautiful, and the use of color to convey this or to show this magical land is amazing. We have all the texture in the bottom side of this image, and the middle side is full of textures, but the top section is a bit flat in that sense. Just a bit of keeping or bringing back, because texture at the bottom seems to be from the wind. It can't be without in the top. Maybe it was there and removed, or maybe it's not, but that's something that held me back from going higher. But congratulations to the photographer for
You
this
can
image.
sometimes get texture in the salt ponds. You can get it on one pond, and because of the height of the causeway, it acts as a bit of a wind shadow. So sometimes you do find a little bit of ripple on one, but the next one's calm. It can happen, but yeah. No, good comments. Thank you. Next image, please. Farouk. You haven't been judging on this category, have you?
But I can't judge.
No, I need. Can you find, if you see Chris, can you tell him I need?
Do you want me to find Chris?
Yeah. Thanks, judges. No, you're in. It's these three slow pokes. Okay.
Internet connection's dropped out.
It's what?
My internet connection's dropped out. My 4G. Oh, it's back now. Hang on. Let's see.
Is it connecting?
Yeah, I've just got to log in again now. Just logging back in, sorry.
Sorry guys, we just had a dropout in our interconnectivity. So just waiting for final scores. 85 silver award. Nice solid silver. Everybody's pretty close there. If I can have a quick comment from Matt. Thanks, Matt.
I think what works beautifully in this image is the texture, and it almost looks like a wave coming in from the left and just putting sea spray everywhere. I think maybe the left-hand side, there's a little bit too much of it in that context, and maybe just a simple crop from the left could enhance the power of that right-hand side.
Yeah, well spotted, everybody. Okay, next image, please. I have a challenge from Christopher Ian on 87. There's an 83, 83, 78, 78.
I just want the author to go away thinking it's better than 82. It's not gold, but it's better than 82. Why? There's a lot of shape there, but the beauty about it is whether through printing or design, you've managed to keep your top layer a totally different colour temperature to your lower layer, and then floating on that are all the objects of activity, like the fishermen, the rubbish cans and all that. And there's this artificial colour to the water which makes the wood grain even jump further. You look at the wood grain, it's going vertical, it's going diagonally. I really think this needs to go up a little bit. It's not gold, but 82.
Okay, let's hear from either Matt or Afshan. Matt, thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was very strong compositionally. I can see a commercial aspect to this as well, and that the people that own this jetty or wharf area would love this kind of photograph. But for me, I was kind of going around the figures, and the main thing I was noticing is that the whites are a little bit blown out, which is a little disappointing. And also, I don't feel like there's a decisive, interesting thing that's going on within the figures. So that held me back a little.
Thanks, Matt. Can I go back to Afshan, if you have something to add?
Thank you. Yes, exactly what Matt said. Plus, I think the post-production has been pushed a bit too much. And the color shift in the ocean, yes, it is ocean. It can be different colors, but made this image a bit unnatural to my eyes. I don't know. Maybe it's just my taste that the color, the green color in the left looks a bit muddier than what I expect from the whole image. But yep.
You did have some support with Jonathan, so let's hear from Jonathan.
Yeah, look, for me, this image ticks a lot of boxes. You know, you've got the perfect sort of tension between perfect symmetry and no symmetry with that pier, which is like the top level of which is perfectly symmetrical and the bottom level clearly isn't, right to left. You know, you've got a lovely, the colour of the water works for me. To me, it looks natural, and then you've got the little pops of colour from the various objects on the pier, and then you've got the wooden texture going in different directions. So it ticks a lot of boxes to me, and I think I graded it a little too conservatively, and I'm willing to go up.
Okay, Christopher?
What I really love is the tedium of the human beings. They're not meant to contribute, they're just blobs of colour. The real hero here is the pier and the way you've visualised it with a different style and colour of the wood. If you get in there, the extra treat is the texture of the water in the lower half. It's just gorgeous to look at, the slight ripples and that.
Okay, you hold your score, Christopher, in at 87. Everybody else can rescore, please. Image scores 84. Thank you, solid silver. Okay, let's have the next image, please. 86, 88, 87, 88, 84. We have an 87. Very consistent. Let's have a comment. Matt, would you give us a comment on this one, please?
Yeah, this image is glowing. You can see different things in it, a starfish, a bird or whatever, just absolutely luminous. I think in terms of improvement, perhaps if the same attention to detail was given around the edges of a frame where it's quite smooth and dark, and there was maybe a little bit of texture retained in there, that would improve it.
Thank you. Okay, next image, please. Thanks, judges. This image scores 85. Good solid silver. Everybody's in the silver range. Judges are fairly unanimous on that. Let's have a comment, if we can, from Kelly.
The colours and the textures are just truly compelling and so attractive. I really love the narrative between what I can gather is man-made versus nature. There's such a beautiful narrative in there. I think it's the crop, or compositionally, something's not quite sitting quite right. Maybe a rotation it's just a little jarring.
Yeah, it's a little light at the top too. Over here just seems to get too bright and fall away and drop us out. This is very heavy and quite contrasty and powerful, and it just drops away a little bit too. So a little bit of balance work might have just strengthened this image. I'm going to do a judge change. Kelly and Matt, you're going to take a break. I'm going to invite Bruce back, and we had to lose a few judges. So David, can I get you to step in for a couple? Thanks. Excuse me. No, it's all good. I got it covered. Thanks, mate. What? Yes, please. Okay, next image, please. We have an 85. Everybody's sitting right in that 85 range, or within a couple of points. Some low 80s, a couple of high 80s, and one in the middle. I'll just make the comment that Strength of this image, I think, is in the geometry and the design of the image is beautiful. The use of spot colour in terms of the two vehicles to sort of pull us in. I think maybe a little bit off the bottom to balance the amount of distance we've got up here, just to make it a little bit more clinically correct symmetrically wise, because it just feels like because of the symmetry through here, that's just a little heavy at the bottom. So there's just a few little things to tweak to this to take it a bit stronger, but a very strong image and really well seen and put together. Congratulations. 85 is a very good score. Next image, please. David?
Yeah, I'm scored, I'm recorded.
It's just come in then. Thank you. We have a score of 87, which is a high silver, and we have a challenge from Afshan on 93. So you have 82, 85, 88 and 87 to work with.
So obviously we all have seen this magical tree here, growing from the roots of earth, growing from the water and coming and fruiting in a vivid red fruit into the nature. Is it dying? Is it giving birth to life? This is just magical. This is beautiful. This has all the details. This has all the stories that we need for this image. And I cannot fault it. I cannot see one single point that is not there. So, and if we go to the points for a goal, I don't have it here, but if we go to the points for the goal, it has everything that we need. It has imagination. Sorry, I cannot see. My eyes are really tired at the moment. Exceptional visual impact. It has visual impact. It has all the technical. It ticks all the boxes. So I really want to hear my other judges' opinion and discuss this.
Sure, well, we will. Christopher Ian, 82.
I gave it a silver, but a lower silver. I believe that the branches, the veins of the tree, are lost in the subject matter. A bit of localised burning in along those would have made them much more prominent, and then your narrative would have stood out even better. I actually love the bottom third. Just what you've done with that coastal area is gorgeous, but the colour is dominant and the branches aren't significant enough.
Okay, let's go to Bruce, who's on 88.
I have an answer for you. I see this as like birds' murmuration coming in or leaving this tree. I can see a fairy tale in this. I was a bit shy. I was at 88 and coming up to gold. Thank you for challenging this. I feel like there is a whimsy in this that can easily write a fairy tale or a story around.
Okay, let's go to David.
Just want to add there, thank you for those thoughts there, Bruce. They're really enlightening there. The contrast between the blues and the reds here, and is this tree dying? Is it thriving? What is it doing? But I like the contrast because I also appreciate the ambiguity in the messaging, and so which way you would choose to interpret it, whether you're a glass half full, glass half empty kind of person. But I'm sitting right on the fence. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to you, Afshan.
The ambiguity is what makes this interesting, and I think you answered yourself. It needs to be there. It needs to be answered by yourself, and the fact that is it dying or giving life, it's something that you can choose. But let's not forget that this is aerial. This is from top, and seeing this and presenting this in this beautiful, artistic way is what we awarding, and it deserves to be awarded in gold, even high gold. Maybe I was shy, so bring it up.
Thank you. You have a 93 you hold. Everybody else can rescore according to what they see. Again, for the audience back home, that doesn't mean they have to change, but they can change. They can go up, they can go down. They just take on board what they've heard and readjust their score after reassessing. We have a gold award at 90. Well done. Next image, please. Image scores 84, silver award. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's have a comment from David.
Thanks, Tony. I really enjoyed there's almost a duality in the narrative here. When you sit back this far, I actually see a lightning bolt sort of coming down here, and it's almost a very abstract sort of lightning bolt. And then you get up closer and you see, you know, for what it is, it's the riverbeds, etc., that has been reinterpreted there. But I appreciate the really white highlights here. I'm just not quite sure about the darkness that sits right in those corners there. It may be just a little overdone. Perhaps something that's just backed off a bit may render a better result.
Thanks, David. Before we go to the next image, I'll get you to take a break. And Matt, if you can come back and join the panel, thanks. And also, Jonathan, you can take a break. Kelly, if you come back and join the panel, please. Kelly. Next image, thank you. Print scores 82, silver award. Everybody within 3 or 4 points of that score. So well done, yeah. I have a comment from Christopher Ian. What could be done to improve that, Christopher?
There's a lot of us were playing around with whether we should crop in at the top, simply because that's such a dominant force, and a lot of the delicate natures below are overwhelmed by it. We tend to look in that top corner, and if that top corner was a percentage smaller, we'd actually get the reward of it dripping down to the blues rather than grabbing our attention too much. But you've done an extremely good job. This is beautifully rendered.
Okay, thank you. Next image, please. Again, this is the digital category, professional categories, aerial subcategory in the Australian Photography Prize here down in sunny Melbourne on a warm Friday afternoon. Well, it is inside here anyway. This image scores 83, silver award. And we have a challenge from Kelly on 88, and you've got an 82, an 81, an 82, and 83.
Blend it in. Okay, let's just have a little chat about this.
Nice and loud, Kelly.
Oh, sorry. I'm not very good at that. The colours are so striking, and there's such an interesting narrative. There's such a good flow, and it just brings you to this point, which at first I was really concerned with the muddy smudginess of it, but I think that really adds to the narrative the more you sit with it. So I'd really love you just to consider it a little bit more. Everything draws you to this point, everything's pointing to this point, and there's a sort of a bit of a void there, which for me is, again, adds to that narrative of this juxtaposition between sort of this very, very textured, incredibly detailed, into drawing yourself into this sort of interesting void, let's say. The crop is, I think, just brilliant. The colour tones are brilliant. The detail's just phenomenal in there. I am not asking for a gold. I just feel bringing it up into a high silver. I think every point counts.
Okay, let's hear from Christopher Ian on 81.
I thought if this had lost the first third, the top third, there would have been less technical issues, whether the colour is underexposed, which we know in nature would be, but certainly if that was just a perimeter for the bright blue, the bright red, and then all the texture of the white, it would have been much higher. It's a great square.
Okay, let's hear from Afshan, sorry.
Yes, I mean, kind of it, Ian in that range, and on 82, I think if you lose the top part, you will have a beautiful landscape or mountainscape, and with lots of white textures at the bottom, which is enough for me to come in high silver, even higher. But as is, the texture comparison between bottom and top of the image is not there. The muddiness, I can forgive that, but the imbalance of the textures and contrast in this top and bottom of the image is stopping me to come higher.
Kelly, back to you.
So I respectfully disagree. I think that if you crop it, it's going to actually interrupt the complete flow of what this image is standing for. I totally agree with the bottom half is absolutely phenomenal, but without that top part, it sort of loses that narrative, loses the story. The texture throughout 90% of the image is what brings the continuity to it, through it together. I find that it's actually not jarring. I think it's actually quite complementary. And again, that narrative of it bringing into that sort of void, everything flows into that position. It holds me in there and just brings about some story, and that texture is just phenomenal. Again, I'm not asking for gold. I'm just a couple of extra points up to a high silver. I think it's well worthy.
Thanks, Kelly. You're on 88. You hold your score. Everybody else can rescore. Image scores 84, solid silver. Well done. So, just for a moment, I'd just like to remind you that tomorrow, Adam Hurigan will be doing a presentation between 1 and 2, Finding Your Extras, sponsored by Nikon and brought to you by Nikon in the trade area. On Sunday morning, there is also a workshop with Kelly Barker, your creative process workshop. So, there's a few people asking me about that, and I think if you're looking for those sort of triggers and things that can stimulate creativity, you go a long way to find someone better than Kelly to listen to. So certainly get along to that and have a look. From 9 to 11 at the same time, there's a workshop with Nathan Madigan, how stories work, sort of helping people with storytelling masterclass for artists and business. Again, if you haven't got tickets, they are still available. At 2 o'clock, we'll have a forum, which I'll be facilitating or running a panel with a group of people talking about things like AI, the future of photography, how do you leave your legacy and things like that. So there's a few things going on over the next few days, as well as the trade show. Make sure you pop in and see them. Again, also thank you to Godox for sponsoring this category, which was the professional digital category of aerial in the Australian Photographic Prize. So thanks to Godox, thanks to the crew behind the screens over here, thanks to our judges, thanks to the audience. If you do get the chance when you're walking around, make sure there's two people in particular. There's a lot of people working behind the scenes, but Robin Campbell and Chris Anderson, if you see them, thank them. They're putting in a hell of a lot of work over the last 12 months and they're working their butts off while everybody else is sort of doing a little bit and then going off to parties. So please make sure you thank them. We'll see you here again tomorrow. Judges, if you're coming in tomorrow to judge, you'll be here at no later than 8:30, so we can kick off at 9 o'clock. Everybody cool with that?
Thanks to the chair.
That's all right. Pleasure.